Hi, um, welcome to this last session, which is 8th session on the chapter 2 electric potential and capacitance. So, we have got only two concepts to learn in this class. One is about the combination of capacitors, and the other one is about the energy stored in a capacitor. When it comes to combination of capacitors, we've got two. One is the series combination of capacitors, and another one is the parallel combination of capacitors. Before we go to this combination of capacitors, we have to learn how this capacitor is denoted. Say, for example, in general, the capacitor is the circuit symbol of a capacitor is somewhat like this. So now just in general circuit, in a circuit we define or we write the capacitor like this: two parallel lines with two leads for connection. This is actually the circuit symbol of capacitor. Usually the left plate will be charged positively and the right plate will be charged negatively. This is how we represent a capacitor. Now, a basic question arises: what is this combination of capacitors and why the combination of capacitors is required? Say, for example, if you just observe, suppose say we have got a capacitor whose capacitance is 10 microfarads. 10 microfarads. You know that farad is the unit, microfarad is the smaller unit of capacitance, 10 microfarad. So we've got another 10 microfarad, which means we've got two 10 microfarad capacitors. But in a circuit what we are designing, we don't want 10, we want 5. But we don't have 5. We don't have 5 microfarad capacitor, but we have two 10 microfarad capacitors. So in this case, we can combine the capacitors. Say this is one capacitor, this is another capacitor. Now you just can take a wire, conducting wire, and connect these two. Now when you connect these two capacitors, the two capacitors now behave as one single capacitor. So now this is one plate and this is the other plate, because these two have been made common, joined together. So now this is one single capacitor. This is one single capacitor. Now see that the effective capacity of these two capacitors, 10 and 10, gives you 5 microfarad capacitors. I'll tell you, you will understand later how 10 and 10 in this combination becomes 5. Similarly, the same 10 and again 10. Now if connected in this manner, see that one plate of the first capacitor is connected to another plate of the second capacitor. That means the plates 1 and 1 of both the capacitors is made common, and the plates 2 and 2 of both the capacitors is made common. Now this kind of combination we call it as parallel combination. We will understand that later. In this case, this 10 microfarad and 10 microfarad, in this case when the capacitors are connected in parallel, now the total capacity becomes 20 microfarads. Here when they are connected end to end, something like this, 10 and 10 when they are connected end to end, it becomes 5. Same 10 and 10 when they are connected parallel, it becomes 20. So you will definitely understand better. I was just trying to tell you that you can combine the number of capacitors end to end or in this parallel type of combination, and the capacity, overall capacity, effective capacity changes. So in this regards, we have got two types of combinations in general, and we will now learn those two types of combination of capacitors. So the two types of combination of capacitors, in that we have got series combination. So here series combination of capacitors and parallel combination of capacitors. So we will learn that series combination first. So series combination of capacitors. Listen students, the number of capacitors are said to be connected in series if the following two conditions are satisfied. So the condition number 1. So here the condition number 1 is this. The condition number 1 is this. See that the two capacitors, not necessarily two, the number of capacitors are said to be connected in series if they are connected end to end, such that the charge on each plate of all the capacitors remains same. The charge on each plate of all the capacitors remains same. And second important condition is this: the total potential applied is equal to the potential drops, is equal to the sum of the potential drops across the individual capacitors. The total potential applied is equal to the sum of the potential drops across the individual capacitors. So which means if the total potential is V is equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3, so on. So I repeat again, it is simple. The number of capacitors are said to be connected in series if they are connected end to end, such that the charge on each plate of all the capacitors remains same. The magnitude of charge on each plate of all the capacitors is same, and the total potential applied is equal to the sum of the individual potential drops or potential drops across the individual capacitors. If V is the total potential applied potential, that is equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3. What is V1? V1 is the potential drop across the capacitor 1. V2 is the potential drop across the capacitor 2, and V3 is the potential drop across the capacitor 3. So we'll go further and learn what happens if the capacitors are connected in series? Consider the capacitors. See that these are the capacitors. I'll just consider 3 capacitors now. These are the 3 capacitors. This is one capacitor. This is another capacitor. This is one more capacitor. Okay. So now we have got 3 capacitors, and the capacity of the first one is, say for example, the capacitance of the first capacitor is C1. The capacitance of the second capacitor is C2. The capacitance of the third capacitor is C3. That means consider 3 capacitors of capacitances C1, C2 and C3 connected in series as shown in the figure. Now these capacitors are connected to a battery. These capacitors are connected to a battery, and the potential of the battery is V volt. Potential of the battery is V volt. Now, as I told you, the 2 conditions are important. The condition number 1, the charge on each plate of all the capacitors must remain same. Consider the capacitor of capacitance C1. Here the charge on this plate, if it is say plus Q, that means if there are 3 positive charges, say for example, and the capacitor, the other plate, there will be 3 negative charges. What I mean here is simply this: the magnitude of charge on both the plates of the capacitor is same. If it is plus Q here, here it is minus Q, and similarly plus here, so plus irrespective of the capacitances, the charge should remain same on all the capacitors. That is important. Charge should remain same on all the capacitors. So here minus 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 minus. So dear students, listen properly. On the capacitor of capacitance C1, on the left plate, what is the charge? Plus Q. On the right plate, what is the charge? Minus Q. Magnitude is same. And on the second capacitor of capacitance C2, left plate plus Q, right plate minus Q, and on the third capacitor, left plate plus Q, right plate minus Q, which means the charge on each plate of all the capacitors is same. The magnitude of charge on each plate of all the capacitors is same. So there is no other go, because the same charge should flow, because they are connected in series. Okay, fine. Now the potential drop across the first capacitor, we will call it as V1. So here V1 is the potential drop across the first capacitor. Similarly, the potential drop across the second capacitor is V2. Similarly, the potential drop across the third capacitor is V3. So what is our second condition? The second condition is this: V, the total potential which we have applied for the combination, that is V, is equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3, and the charge should remain same. These are the 2 conditions. If these 2 conditions are clearly satisfied, then we say that the number of capacitors are connected in series. I repeat again, the number of capacitors are said to be connected in series if they are connected end to end, such that the charge on each plate of all the capacitors remains same, and the total potential applied is equal to the sum of the potential drops across the individual capacitors. Now based on this, we can learn the further. Say for example, these 2 capacitors. Now what is the capacitance? C1, C2 and C3. What happens if all the 3 are connected in series? what is the effective capacity now? What is the effective capacity? What is the total capacity now when they are connected in series? So, for example, this circuit is somewhere equivalent to, say, this one. I replace now all the three capacitors by a single capacitor. This single capacitor is having a capacity, say, CS. CS. What is the CS? Effective capacitance in series. And that is again connected to a battery whose potential is V volt. This is V volt. So therefore the potential drop across this also is equal to V only. The potential drop is V, and the charge should remain same because charges plus plus plus, and the charges here minus 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 minus. So plus Q and minus Q. Here the charge will be plus Q, and here the charge is minus Q, and again plus Q here, minus Q. Similarly, plus Q charge, minus Q charge. Here also plus Q charge, minus Q charge. Charge remains same. So three capacitors connected in series, and all the three capacitors, if they are replaced by a single capacitor, and the effective capacitance of that capacitor is called as CS. And now notice that this CS is replacing all the three capacitors effectively. That means it is storing the same charge at the same potential where all these three capacitors are doing. ಈ ಮೂರು ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟರ್ಸು ಸೀರೀಸಲ್ಲಿ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಎಷ್ಟು ಚಾರ್ಜನ್ನು ಯಾವ ಪೊಟೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೋ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಚಾರ್ಜನ್ನು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಪೊಟೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೊಂದೇ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟರ್ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಈ ಮೂರು ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟರ್ಸ್ನ ಇದು ರೀಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಫೈನ್. ನಾವು ಕಮಿಂಗ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಟು ದ ಡಿರೈವೇಷನ್, ಸಿ ಎಸ್ಗೆ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಎಷ್ಟು ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋಣ. ನಾವು ವಿ ನೋ ದಟ್ according to the definition of the capacitance, C is equal to Q divided by V. So C is equal to charge divided by potential, or potential is equal to Q divided by C. We know this one. So if we know this, if we write, say for example, V is equal to Q by C, V1 baradre. If we write V1 is equal to Q divided by C1. Correct? Why Q divided by C1? Why I am not written Q1? Because Q remains same across all the capacitors. So V1 is equal to Q divided by C1. Similarly, V2 is equal to Q divided by C2. Similarly, V3 is equal to Q divided by C3. Now come to this second condition. Second condition says that V is equal to what? V1 plus V2 plus V3. Now we will take this V1 plus V2 plus V3. So what is V1 plus V2 plus V3 is equal to, what is V1? It is just Q divided by C1 plus Q divided by C2 plus Q divided by C3. Again, V1 plus V2 plus V3 is what according to our condition? That is nothing but V. Here I can take Q common. So what remains? 1 divided by C1 plus 1 divided by C2 plus 1 divided by C3. Okay. Call this as equation number 1. Now consider this capacitor, equivalent capacitor. This is equivalent capacitor. So consider an equivalent capacitor. What is equivalent capacitor? Equivalent capacitor is that single capacitor which replaces all the three capacitors which are connected in series effectively. So that is called equivalent capacitor. Now apply the same formula for equivalent capacitor. If you apply the same formula, V, the potential is equal to Q divided by Cs. V is equal to Q by C. See here, V is equal to what? Q divided by C. Similarly, V is equal to Q divided by Cs. V here, V is equal to Q divided by Cs. Q divided by Cs. Here observe this, V1 is equal to Q divided by C1. V2 is equal to Q by C2, V3 is equal to Q by C3. Here V is equal to Q divided by Cs. Now this is the equation number 2. Now just compare the equations 1 and 2. If you compare the equations 1 and 2, see that V and V goes, Q and Q goes, what remains is this 1 divided by Cs is equal to 1 divided by C1 plus 1 divided by C2 plus 1 divided by C3. So this is the equation that we have got. 1 by Cs is equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2 plus 1 by C3. So what is that you have to understand? So simple that 1 by Cs, reciprocal of the effective capacitance in series. 1 by Cs is the reciprocal of the effective capacitance in series is equal to sum of the reciprocals of the individual capacitances. I repeat again, reciprocal of the effective capacitance in series is equal to sum of the reciprocals of the individual capacitances in series. 1 by Cs is equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2 plus 1 by C3. So this is the final equation, and you have to define what is effective capacitance. You have to define like this: effective capacitance in series, reciprocal of the effective capacitance in series is equal to the sum of the reciprocals of the individual capacitances. This is the derivation, my dear students. Say for example, if you have only two capacitors connected in series, observe that what happens: 1 divided by Cs is equal to 1 divided by C1 plus 1 divided by C2. If you solve this, you will get Cs is equal to C1 C2 divided by C1 plus C2. Cs is equal to C1 C2 divided by C1 plus C2. This is the equation we get. As I told you in the previous example, that if there are two capacitors 10 and 10, when they are connected in series, you will get 5. Just check this: 10, C1 is 10, C2 is also 10, divided by 10 plus 10. What is 10 into 10? 100. 100 divided by 20, which is equal to 5. That is 5 microfarads, or 5 you will get. So that means 10 and 10 when connected in series, you will get 5. That is 10 into 10 divided by 10 plus 10. So that is how if you connect the capacitors in series, this is the effective capacity. So remember one important thing, that if the capacitors are connected in series, the effective capacity will be less than the least value of the individual capacitors connected in series. I repeat again, when the capacitors are connected in series, the effective capacity is less than the least value of the individual capacitors connected in series. For example, say if you have 1 microfarad, 100 microfarad and 200 microfarad. If you connect all these in series, then the effective capacity will be less than 1. The effective capacitance Cs will be always less than 1 microfarad. So if you have 1 microfarad, 100 microfarad, 200 microfarad, all the three connected in series, then Cs, the value of Cs will be less than the least. Which is the least? 1 microfarad. It will be less than the least. If you can calculate, because you have the formula here. 1 by Cs is equal to 1 by C1, 1 by 1 plus 1 by 100 plus 1 by 200. Then calculate and just know that Cs will be less than 1 microfarad, slightly less than 1 microfarad capacitances. So that is one important thing that you have to remember. So I repeat again, when the capacitors are connected in series, the capacitors are said to be connected in series if they are connected end to end such that the magnitude of the charge on each plate of all the capacitors remains same. The total potential drop is equal to the sum of the potential drops across the individual capacitors, and V is equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3. You now can understand what is V1, V2 and V3 and what is V. V is the total potential applied. V1, V2 and V3 are the potential drops across the individual capacitors. So consider, you have to write all this introduction. Consider three capacitors of capacitances C1, C2 and C3 connected in series as shown in the figure. When they are connected in series, the magnitude of charge on each plate of all the capacitors remains same. Let the potential drop across the first capacitor be V1, across the second capacitor be V2 and across the third capacitor be V3. Now the total potential applied is V volt. Now suppose if I replace all these three capacitors by a single capacitor, which is known as effective capacitor in series. This effective capacitor in series and its capacitance is called CS. Will have the same charge, plus Q and minus Q, and the potential is V. So that means this single capacitor holds the charge Q at the potential V, where all these three capacitors are doing. ಈ ಮೂರು ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟರ್ಸು ಎಷ್ಟು ಚಾರ್ಜನ್ನು ಯಾವ ಪೊಟೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೋ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಚಾರ್ಜನ್ನು ಇದೊಂದೇ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟರು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಪೊಟೆನ್ಷಿಯಲಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ದೇರ್ಫೋರ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ಲಿ ರೀಪ್ಲೇಸಿಂಗ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ತ್ರೀ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟರ್ಸ್ ಬೈ ಎ ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟರ್, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದಟ್ ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟರ್ is called equivalent capacitor. So coming back, now C is equal to Q by V, V is equal to Q by C, V1, V2, V3, and we know that V1 plus V2 plus V3 ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ V ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So that's it. We get at this one. So two important points. If two capacitors are connected in series, then CS is equal to C1 C2 divided by C1 plus C2. Second important point, effective capacitance in series is always less than the least value of the individual capacitances. There are many points. In fact, I can write 10 points on series combination of capacitances, but for the theory, I mean board examination point of view, just it is more than enough. It is more than enough. Nothing to worry much. And when it comes to the competitive part, we will learn more and more and more. Okay, fine. So this is one thing, dear students. I hope it is clear for you. And now we will go for another combination, and this another combination is also quite simple, and that is known as parallel combination of capacitors. Once we have learnt the series combination of capacitors, parallel combination becomes easy. Learning the parallel combination becomes easy, and now we will learn the parallel combination of capacitors, and always try to analyze and learn, compare and learn, so that it will be easy for you to remember. Compare the series combination and parallel combination, and it will be easy for you to remember and also reproduce the things. Okay, parallel combination of capacitors. Dear students, the number of capacitors are said to be connected in parallel. Again, two conditions. The condition number one, here the condition number one. So the number of capacitors are said to be connected in parallel such that if the potential drop across each capacitors is same, the potential drop across each capacitor, the potential drop across each capacitor is same. Okay, so if the potential drop across each capacitor is same, the second condition is that the total charge is equal to the sum of the charges on the individual capacitors. That's it. Q is equal to Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3. Now very simple. Earlier in the case of series combination, the charge across all the capacitors was same. Now the potential difference across all the capacitors is same, and in the series combination, V is equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3. Here charge is equal to, total charge is equal to Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3. Exactly the reverse way. You will better understand how this works. Why the potential drop across each capacitor is same, you will understand, and why the total charge is equal to the sum of the charges on the individual capacitors. You will understand this in a simple way. Now let us consider three capacitors. Say here we have got one capacitor, one more capacitor, one more capacitor. Now See that these are the leads for connection. Now the left plate of all the capacitors you join, the right plate of all the capacitors again you join, you connect by a connecting wire. Now make it common. Now take this, connect to a battery. This is a battery, do not confuse this with another capacitor. A battery is represented by one longer line and one shorter line, but a capacitor is represented by two parallel lines of same length. So here, why the potential drop remains same? Very simple. See dear students, suppose say potential across or potential of the battery is V volt. Observe here, all the plates, all the left plates, 1, 2, 3, all the left plates are connected to the positive terminal of the battery, and all the right plates here, all the right plates are connected to what? All the right plates are connected to all the right plates are connected to all the right plates are connected to the negative terminal of the battery, all the right plates. So therefore the potential drop across each capacitor becomes equal to the potential of the battery, because suppose if the potential of the battery is 10 volt, the potential across the first capacitor is also 10 volt, second capacitor is also 10 volt, third one is also 10 volt. Why? Because this capacitor, suppose you consider this capacitor of capacitance C1, this is C2 and this is C3. Just check dear students, C1 the left plate is connected to what? C1 the left plate is connected, observe this, C1 is connected to positive terminal. C1 is connected to positive terminal, and the right plate is connected to what? The right plate is connected to negative terminal. So therefore the potential what's happening? Okay, so the potential of C1 is same as that of the battery. Similarly, C2, the left plate of C2 is connected to the positive terminal, the right plate of C2 is connected to the negative terminal of the battery, and therefore the potential drop across C2 is also same as that of the battery. Similarly, C3 is left plate of C3 is connected to the positive terminal, and the right plate of C3 is connected to the negative terminal of the battery, and therefore the potential across C3 is also same as that of the battery, and therefore all the three will have the same potential, that is V volt. All the three capacitors will have the same potential, that is V volt, and that is equal to that of the battery. There is no change, okay. Now, so dear students, the total charge across all the capacitors should remain same. Now suppose if the charge on the first capacitor is Q1, here the charge on the first capacitor is say Q1, and the charge on the second capacitor is say Q2, the charge on the third capacitor is say Q3, and see that the total charge is Q, then Q is equal to what? Q1, Q2 and Q3 sum. So here it is plus Q1, and on the right plate it is minus Q1. Here it is plus Q2, and on the right plate it is minus Q2, plus Q3 and minus Q3. This is how it is. So now let us now replace all these three capacitors by a single capacitor. This is a single capacitor, and this single capacitor is of capacitance Cp. Why Cp I will call? Because they are connected in parallel. So when do you say the capacitors are connected in parallel? If they are connected in such a way that each plate of all the capacitors are connected to one common end, and the other plate of all the capacitors are connected to another common end. If you want, you just can check that each plate, that is left plates of all the capacitors are connected to one common terminal. Right plates of all the capacitors are connected to one common terminal, that is negative terminal. Here left plates are all connected common and it is connected to positive terminal of the battery. So when do you say the capacitors are connected in parallel? Such that the capacitors are said to be connected in parallel if each plate of all the capacitors are connected to one end and the other plates of all the capacitors are connected to other end, and then we say that the capacitors are connected in parallel. This is CP, capacitors in parallel, capacitance in parallel, effective capacitance in parallel. Or this is a single capacitor which effectively replaces all the three capacitors connected in series, and now that is connected to a battery here. Battery V volt, here the potential drop is also V volt and the charge here is plus Q and the charge here is minus Q. The total charge, that's it. Now let us come to the derivation part of it. Now according to the definition, we know that Q is equal to what? Q is equal to C into V. Q is equal to CV. Correct? Q is equal to CV. Now similarly, if you write Q1, what is Q1? Q1 is equal to C1 into V. Why I am not writing V1? Because potential across all the capacitors is same. Similarly, Q2 is equal to what? Q2 is equal to C2 into V. Similarly, Q3 is equal to what? Q3 is equal to C3 into V. Now take the sum of Q1, Q2 and Q3. Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3. What is Q1? C1V. What is Q2? C2V. What is Q3? C3V. What is Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3? That is nothing but Q. So Q is equal to what? You can take now V common. So if you take V common, what remains? C1 plus C2 plus C3. C1 plus C2 plus C3. You can call this as equation 1. Now apply the same formula according to the definition of capacitance. Apply it for equivalent capacitor. So according to that, Q is equal to V into Cp. V into Cp. This equation you call it as equation number 2. This is the equation we obtain when we apply the definition of capacitance for an equivalent capacitor. Q is equal to V into Cp. Here Q is equal to, just check, Q is equal to V into Cp. Q1 is equal to V into C1 here. Q2 is equal to V into C2. Q3 is equal to V into C3. Q is equal to V into Cp. Combining the two, come back here, combining the equations 1 and 2, you get Cp, the effective capacitance in parallel, is equal to C1 plus C2 plus C3. So this is the effective capacitance in parallel. The definition, I repeat, the effective capacitance in parallel is equal to the sum of the algebraic sum of the capacitances of the individual capacitors. That's it. Effective capacitance in parallel is equal to the algebraic sum of the individual capacitances connected in parallel. Cp is equal to C1 plus C2 plus C3. Now we will take two cases. Case number 1, only if two capacitors are connected, Cp is equal to C1 plus C2. Cp is equal to C1 plus C2. I told you, if two capacitors are connected, Cp is equal to C1 plus C2. Now in the first example, if 10 and 10 microfarad and another 10 microfarad, if they are connected in parallel, the total capacity, effective capacity becomes 20. Same 10 and 10 when connected in series, it becomes 5. You got it? If two capacitors 10 and 10 connected in series becomes how much? 5. If the same two capacitors connected in parallel 10 and 10 becomes 20, because in parallel the capacity adds up, algebraic sum. In series the capacity is C1 C2 divided by C1 plus C2. And second important point here, the effective capacity is greater than the greatest of the individual capacitors. capacitances. That means Cp is equal to C1 plus C2 plus C3, and therefore quite obviously Cp is greater than any greatest value. Say for example, I told you, no, if you have 100 microfarad, again 200 microfarad and 1000 microfarad, the effective capacity will be 1300. Why 1300? It is C1 plus C2 plus C3. Therefore, it is 1300. That means it is greater than the greatest. That's it. So these are the two important points. Just keep in your mind as far as the capacitors in parallel are concerned. I hope it is clear for you. The capacitors in series and the capacitors in parallel. So these are the two important questions for the board exams, and many problems can be asked on this series combination and parallel combination. In fact, they can combine both series and parallel combination, mixed combination also you can expect. So this is one concept, my dear students, and now we have got another important concept to learn, and that is about the energy stored in a capacitor. See that capacitor basically is what? Capacitor basically is a device used to store electrical energy. It is used to store large quantity of charges and large quantity of electrical energy. How the energy is stored in a capacitor, that is an important thing. And what is the equation for the energy stored in a capacitor, that is also an important thing. And this derivation is important for 3 marks, and it is easy to learn. First of all, how the energy is stored in a capacitor, that is like charging of a capacitor. We have to learn about the charging of a capacitor. So once we learn the charging of a capacitor, how you charge, charging of a capacitor. Now consider a capacitor here. Say this is a capacitor, and you connect that capacitor to a battery. If you connect this capacitor to a battery, okay, so what happens now? If you connect a capacitor to a battery, the capacitor gets charged. How it gets charged, I will tell you. Say this is a battery of potential V volt, and now suppose this battery is pulling off the electrons from one plate and it is transferring the electrons to the other plate. It is pulling off the electrons from this plate, say plate A, and this plate B. When it pulls off the electrons from the plate A and it will transfer the electrons to the plate B, plate A gets positively charged and plate B gets negatively charged. So how long this transfer of electrons takes place? The transfer of electrons takes place as long as the potential across the capacitor becomes equal to that of the battery, and once the potentials across the battery and that of the capacitor becomes equal, then the transfer of charges will not take place, and therefore the potential across the battery becomes equal to the potential of the capacitor. That's it. So I repeat again, please listen, dear students. Here we take a capacitor, say this is a capacitor, and this capacitor we just connect that to a battery. We will connect that to a battery. Now once you connect that to a battery, what happens? If you connect the capacitor to a battery, now quite obviously the battery, because this battery positive plate will pull off the electrons from one plate, and those electrons which are pulled off will be transferred to the other plate. So this plate A loses electrons and therefore becomes what? Positively charged. And the other plate, say B, gains electrons and becomes what? Negatively charged. And the transfer of electrons keep taking place. And how long the transfer of electrons takes place? So long that the potential of the battery becomes equal to the potential across the capacitance. So until the potentials become equal, the transfer of electrons keep taking place. So that is one important thing. This is how we say that the charging of a capacitor, charging of a capacitor. So this is one important thing. Please listen. So charging of capacitor, how the capacitor gets charged by just connecting that to a battery. When you connect that to a battery, the electrons are pulled off from one plate and the electrons are given to the other plate, and this process continues until the potentials across both the batteries, across the battery and the capacitor becomes equal. So once the potentials are equal, no longer the transfer of electrons takes place, the capacitor is fully charged and you can disconnect the battery. So the capacitor now will be fully charged. And once you know how the capacitor is charged, now we will learn about the expression for energy stored in a capacitor. So the derivation is quite simple. Energy stored in a capacitor. Now we'll go to the fresh page. Now energy stored in a capacitor. Energy stored in a capacitor. Okay. Dear students, consider again the capacitor. So this is a capacitor. This is a capacitor, and that capacitor is connected to a battery. Okay. So the capacitance is C, and the battery potential is V. And now you know what happens once you connect the capacitor to a battery. Transfer of charges keep taking place. Say at some instant of time, the charge on the capacitor is Q and the potential is, say, V. Potential is V. The charge is Q and the potential is V. At some instant of time, when the charge is getting transferred, the charge is Q and the potential is V. C is a capacitance of the capacitor. It is constant always. Now to transfer the charge at this instant of time, to transfer the charge, work has to be done. And what is the work done in transferring the charge? You just tell me what is the work done in transferring the charge. Work done in transferring the charge is, say, dW. dW is the work done in transferring the charge. Work done is equal to, in electrostatics, what is the work done? I have told you, work done is equal to, what is that? dV, the potential, V into dQ. That means dW is the work done in transferring a charge, dQ, when the potential of the battery is V, when the potential of the capacitor is V. dW is equal to V into dQ. So if dW is equal to V into dQ, remember this, always work done is the product of potential and charge. Work done is the product of potential and charge. dW is equal to V into dQ. But we know that V is equal to the equation for V. You know that C is equal to Q by V, V is equal to Q by C. V is equal to Q divided by C. So substitute for V, you will get dW is equal to V into, in the place of V, we have to write Q divided by C into dQ. Here dW, that is, I can write this dW as 1 divided by C into Q into dQ. What is dW? Remember, dW is the work done in transferring the charge from one plate of the battery and one plate of the capacitor to another plate. That is dW. What is the charge transferred? dQ. Remember, dW is the work done in transferring a charge dQ from one plate to the other plate, and the dW, the work done by the battery, will be stored in the capacitor as energy. Got it? See that if you come to this diagram here, to transfer a charge from one plate to other plate, this battery has to do work. So suppose if dW is the work done in transferring a charge dQ from one plate to the other plate, then dW is given by this equation. dW is equal to 1 by C dQ. Now What is the total work done in charging the battery completely? In charging the capacitor completely. So the total work done, W, is equal to, integrate this equation, integrate dW from 0 to Q, total charge 0 to Q. So if you substitute 0 to Q, what is dW? 1 divided by C into Q dQ. 1 by C, C is a constant. Capacitance of a capacitor is a constant. It doesn't depend on the charge, it doesn't depend on the potential. Capacitance is always constant. Say for example, if you have a water tank and if its capacity is 100 liters, its capacity is always 100 liters only. It doesn't depend on the amount of water in it. Suppose if it has got 50 liters of water, the capacity remains 100 only. Got the point clearly? Capacity of a water tank, if it is 100 liters, forever it is 100 liters only. Similarly, capacity of a capacitor, if it is 10 microfarads, forever it is 10 microfarads, irrespective of the charge in it, irrespective of the potential in it, because capacity is a constant. Capacitor is a constant. So 1 by C, I should remove it out. That is now equal to 1 divided by C integration 0 to Q, Q dQ. What is integration of x dx? X square by 2. Similarly, the integration now is equal to 1 divided by C. What is integration of Q dQ? It is Q square divided by 2. What are the limits? 0 to Q. Upper limit minus lower limit. So therefore, W is equal to 1 divided by C, capital Q divided by 2. So I can now write work done is equal to just half Q square by C. Work done. And you know that the work done will be stored as potential energy, electric potential energy. Potential energy. Therefore, U is equal to half Q square divided by C. This is the energy stored in the capacitor. Now there are two more forms. You can write what is Q. Q is equal to CV. Q is equal to CV. If you write Q is equal to CV here, what you will get? C square V square. One C will go. Therefore you will get U is equal to half. In the place of Q square, if you write Q square is equal to what? C square V square. And 1 C goes, so therefore half CV square you will get. Otherwise, if you write C is equal to Q by V, here in this equation C is equal to Q by V, Q by V, V goes to the numerator, 1 Q goes, so U will become equal to half Q V. So these are the three forms, same equation, first, second and third one. Okay, so these are the three forms of the equation. So remember this, energy stored in a capacitor, U is equal to half Q square by C, U is equal to half CV square, U is equal to half QV. So dear students, now today in this session we have learnt about the capacitor combinations, combination of capacitors in series, capacitor combination in parallel, and also we learnt about how a capacitor can be charged, and with the help of that we have also learnt a derivation on energy stored in a capacitor. And all these three or four things are very, very important. There is one more concept, but that has been removed. That is about the Van de Graaff generator. Because it has been removed from the syllabus, I will not discuss about Van de Graaff generator. So by this we come to an end of this session, as well the end of this chapter. I'll come with the new chapter and the numericals of this one in the next session. Anyhow, we will have the discussion interactive session on Saturday, online interactive session on Saturday, that is tomorrow. So I request everybody to come online tomorrow. I'll send you the link. You just come online tomorrow so that we will have the doubt clearance and interactive sessions. Okay, students, until then, goodbye.